Well, hey everybody, I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. It is an absolutely spectacular day here in South Alabama, and as soon as I'm finished with this video, I'm going to go out there and get myself some vitamin D. Not a single cloud in the sky, and I need to take that vitamin D while I can get it. So anyhow, today I want to talk about 3 simple mindfulness practices you can use every day. Guys, I do videos every day, so if you are not already subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe button below. Then click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. I'm wanting to share more and more mindfulness tips. I'm getting back into my daily practice. And I don't necessarily want to share exactly how I do my practice. Well, I mean, I will later on, and I've done it before. But what I'm talking about when I want to share more mindfulness is just simple, practical, everyday things people can use to put into effect right away, instead of like this, getting into a formal meditation. Although I do recommend that very highly. I got a good reading for you today. I really like this one. And I think that might be, I don't know, probably within the next 2 or 3 blog posts, I'm going to do something on mindfulness again. I want to start writing more on mindfulness from my perspective. So the name of the article is pretty much the name of the video. 3 simple mindfulness practices you can use every day. And I'll try to remember to put the link down low. It's by, I think it's a lady's name, Mirabai Bush. And this is from mindful.org. We're all learning all the time. Parents learn to care for children. Students learn physics. Soldiers learn survival skills. And all of us learn the latest app or how kale will make us healthy. But much of what we call learning isn't particularly useful. I just learned on Facebook that someone I hardly know baked cupcakes today. Riveting. Mindful learning, on the other hand, cultivates insightful knowing rather than just a brain overloaded with information. Mindfulness creates space to let new information in and to allow us to see how it relates to what we already know. Recent neurological research at Harvard shows how this happens. Mindfulness may actually increase the size of your brain. When I learned mindfulness practice in 1970, I felt for the first time in my life that I knew something to be absolutely true. I was breathing in and breathing out. That was really happening. I actually saw thoughts and judgments arise like, I'm not nearly as good as these other meditators. Look, their backs are straighter than mine. They're wearing the perfect white clothes. I'm in a funky embroidered shirt. Where did those thoughts come from? They arose in my mind, and then if I wasn't obsessing about them, they would float or fall away. The important thing was how I saw thoughts arise and disappear. I was beginning to see how my mind worked, and even if I didn't like what it was doing, I felt more whole, more integrated, more confident. Not really knowing my breath or my mind seemed like not knowing what my face looked like. How could I have missed them? Of course we all know we are breathing and thinking, but it was radically different to experience them directly instead of intellectually. It wasn't just an idea that I breathed, it was me breathing. I had learned something important in a whole new way. That led me to look at the other ways we learn, to see whether they could benefit from mindfulness. I wanted to understand ideas, images, skills, and people in an intimate way, with the clarity and confidence I was experiencing as I came to know my own mind and body. I wanted to create space in my mind instead of that crowded carnival of ideas and of information and judgments. I wanted to be open to learning something new, to see things with new perspectives and understanding. Mindfulness, with its focus, openness, inquisitiveness, and humility, seemed like the perfect approach. Here are some of the practices I discovered. Mindful reading. Reading these days, whether on a screen or on paper, is more often a race to finish the text than searching for meaning. Woody Allen captured it. I took a speed reading course and read War and Peace in 20 minutes. It involves Russia. Mindful reading is radically different. It slows down the reader in the reading. That alone changes the experience. It is a process of quiet reflection that requires mindful attentiveness, letting go of distracting thoughts and opinions to be fully in the moment with the text. It moves the reader into a calm awareness, allowing for a more profound experience and understanding. Here are some mindful reading exercises. The wraparound. Before reading, sit quietly for some minutes. Bring your attention to your breath, letting go of thoughts and sensations, returning to the breath again and again. Then read. Notice if you read with more focus and appreciation. When you finish reading, sit again for some minutes, again bringing your mind to the breath. At the end of your practice, notice what you have learned from the reading. Savoring a resonant phrase. Sit quietly and then read a short piece, perhaps a page long. What phrase stands out for you? Return to that phrase and repeat it to yourself, perhaps several times. Just sit with it. What does it evoke? Notice what images or ideas or memories arise. Do any of the words have meaning beyond the obvious? What meaning does this phrase give to the rest of what you're reading? Hold the phrase in your mind, giving it time to suggest more to you. Now reread the full piece. How is it different? How has your relationship to it changed? One from many. Reading doesn't have to be private. You can do this practice with as few as 2 people, but the more the merrier. Each person has a copy of the same poem or piece of prose. All sit quietly and focus on the breath. One person reads the entire text aloud. All sit in silence. After a while, one person reads the first line aloud. Out of the silence after that line, the next person who feels moved to read speaks the second line, and so on until it is finished. Ask yourselves whether hearing the same words in different voices affects the meaning. Number 2, mindful writing. Writing benefits from the capabilities that mindfulness cultivates, seeing and hearing things just as they are, bearing witness to life, being in the moment. Even when remembering the past or imagining the future, not judging others and oneself while still exercising discriminating wisdom, holding multiple perspectives, being open to the new, and practicing kindness, compassion, and patience. Mindful awareness helps us see, in Gerard Manley Hopkins' words, all things original, spare, strange. At the same time, it acknowledges our interconnection. All of us, when we write, are giving something, and we need a reader who will accept our gift. We each write out of our own loneliness to express ourselves to another human being. Here are some ways to bring mindfulness to your writing. Journal writing. Writing in a journal is one of the oldest methods of self-exploration and expression. Although they're not written for publication and often don't last longer than their authors, we have extraordinary examples of journals in the work of Virginia Woolf, Thomas Merton, May Sarton, and Anne Frank, among others. As these illustrate, a journal can help one cultivate the ability to live in the present, to become deeply aware and appreciative of life. There are many journal practices. Here are a few. Once a day, write something new every day. Add a drawing or a photograph to it. Journals like mindfulness help us appreciate the simple fact that every moment in our life brings something new and different. We only need to notice it. Be your own researcher. Write each day what you are learning from mindfulness practice or anything else. Social media practice. Write about your experience of using social media. What sensations do you notice in your body before and after you communicate? What sensations do you notice when you receive a comment or a tweet? Being here now. Stop in your tracks once a day. Take account of the sky, the ground, and yourself. Then write what you noticed. Or while walking down a street or country road, stop, turn in a circle, and write what you remember. Or sitting with your notebook, write 6 sentences, beginning each with here and now. Free writing. Free writing is a method of mindful inner inquiry. You never know what you will learn until you start writing. Then you discover truths that you didn't know existing. I like that idea of free writing. Begin writing and write continuously for a set period of time, say 10 to 15 minutes. If it helps, use a prompt like, right now I am feeling, or I've always been afraid to. Keep the pen moving with no pauses to correct spelling, grammar, or punctuation. Write down whatever is rising in your mind without judgment. Keep writing. When the time is up, stop and read. And number 3 is mindful listening. When we are listening mindfully, we are fully present with what we're hearing without trying to control it or judge it. We let go of our inner clamoring and our usual assumptions, and we listen with respect to precisely what is being said. We listen to our own minds and hearts, and as the Quakers say, to the still small voice within. We listen to sounds, to music, to lectures, to conversations, and in a sense, to the written word. For all of these kinds of listening to be effective, so we understand and remember what is being heard, we need a mind that is open, fresh, alert, attentive, calm, and receptive. We often do not have a clear concept of listening as an active process that we can control, but in fact, mindful listening can be cultivated through practice. Here are some mindful listening practices. Wake up listening. Early morning is especially good for listening. Try this. As you wake up, instead of turning on the TV, your iPhone, or your computer, be still and just listen. In a rural setting, the sounds may be birds and animals waking up. In a city, sounds of outside action begin: garbage collection, building construction, traffic. On campus, the sounds of opening doors, feet walking in the hallways, other students talking. Listen for the soft sounds: a cat purring, leaves rustling. Rest your full attention on one sound until it fades away. Then let another come to you. As thoughts come into your mind, gently let them go and return to the sound. Then get out of bed and enjoy the sound of the water on your skin in the shower. In the groove, put on some music, maybe classical or slow tempo. Notice the sound and vibration of the notes, the sensations in your body as you listen, and the feelings the music brings up in you. When you notice thoughts arising, gently bring your attention back to the music. Breathe. In the shelter of each other, Thoreau said, "The greatest compliment that was ever paid to me was when one asked me what I thought and attended to my answer." Mindful listening helps us to be fully present for another person. It is the gift of our attention. It moves us closer to each other. It allows the speaker to feel less vulnerable and more inclined to open up to the listener. Not listening creates separation and fragmentation, which is always painful. To listen mindfully to another person, stop doing anything else, breathe naturally, and simply listen, without an agenda, to what is being said. If thoughts about other things arise, gently let them go and return to the speaker's words. As responses arise in your mind, wait until you've heard all that has to be said before replying. Try not to let your story overcome the speaker's. Be curious. Don't assume that you know. Listen for feelings as well as the words. And you will want to be listened to also. But when you're speaking, if the person you're talking to doesn't appear to be mindfully listening, be patient. As Winnie the Pooh once said, it may simply be that he has a small piece of fluff in his ear. That one's important. I was going to mention that conversations, that's a good one to start with. The next time you're having a conversation with somebody, be fully present. But these are good. I'm actually going to use this. I'm glad I stumbled across this. I actually am going to use this and apply this and do some of these little exercises. And I would challenge you to do the same. Just pick one. You don't have to go all crazy and do whatever. Just pick one of these examples of mindfulness and practice today. And like I shared with you last week, it may just be as simple as getting that realization, that aha moment that I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.